So far in this chapter, we've covered the components of Hyperledger Sawtooth's framework, including the proof of elapsed time consensus algorithm, transaction families, and batches. We've also installed and spun up our very own test network and gone through a demonstrated example detailing how Sawtooth is unique. Now it's time to combine what we've learned into a coded example. Sawtooth SDKs offer transaction family developer support for JavaScript, Python, C, C++, Java, and Go. To create our simple application, we'll use the JavaScript SDK, which provides client functionality and supplies the process of making changes to the blockchain. If you'd like to delve more into these heavy details, technical details, stay tuned for a future course on Sawtooth. Now, before we dig into this section, I'd like to give a brief overview. Building an application requires a few important steps. First, defining assets that will reside in the distributed ledger, as well as transactions that will act on these assets to change their state. Second, designing transaction logic that operates on these assets. Now, as transactions are received by a Sawtooth node, they are forwarded to other nodes. A node is selected by a consensus model to publish a block. The block will contain any transactions that have been received and executed successfully. The block is then broadcasted to the publishing nodes. Each Sawtooth node receives a published block and verifies that that block is valid. It then notifies our application of any state changes. By the end of this section, we'll be familiar with how to use the JavaScript SDK to interact with the Sawtooth network and write code logic to create transactions holding information about physical objects. Now you are ready to start this section.